Community Connections with Children's Services Council. I am your host today, Ashley Mock, and I am flying solo. You'll notice that I'm on the wrong side of the set this morning. Sean is not with us today, but he's doing something very important that I'll talk about in a little bit. But first, I want to welcome everyone again to Community Connections with Children's Services Council. This is a weekly radio/television show. It's a little interesting to explain, but we've got an awesome partnership with both WIRA 1400 AM and St. Lucie County Public Schools, who comes in and videotapes our radio show to air it on their WLX TV station, which is just awesome and gives us a ton of exposure, and we love them for it. We get to share a lot of information that way. So we have a great guest that we're going to get to today, but before we do that, I just want to explain a little bit about Children's Services Council and what we do in our community. We are an independent special district that works with local nonprofits that serve children and families. And a lot of times we hear from people out in the community that they aren't familiar with what those nonprofits might be that serve children and families. But I guarantee you that if you looked at a list of our funded programs, there would be several that you recognized. Hibiscus Children's Center would be one of them. It's our guest today. We'll talk to them in a little bit. But Big Brothers Big Sisters, Boys and Girls Club, the Avenue D Boys and Girls Choir are all programs that we work with in our community. This year we're actually working with 53 agencies that last year served about 34,000 kids in our community, and that's a huge number. It's roughly about half of the population of the kids that are living in St. Lucie County that are under the age of 18. So these programs are doing great work, and we're really proud of them. We have several ways that you can get in touch with those programs to learn more about what they're doing. Probably the easiest way is through our family guide. We have these printed directories that are out in the community. We always have them out with us at community events. They're at several locations throughout the community, but you can find one of these, and it will give you kind of a little brief description about each one of those programs and what they do, as well as contact information if that's a need that your family is currently having, or something that you can refer to a friend or a coworker. We also have an app, which is really cool. I don't know if you guys have seen our app yet, but it is available for free in both of the Apple and the Android stores. You can download the app and get all of the information that's in the family guide right on your phone. So it's really neat. We're really proud of it. There's also a link on the app to our community calendar. So if you're looking for something to do this coming weekend, everything is listed there that our programs are participating in that's going on in the community. So it's really neat. It's an awesome way to get access to all of that information and to kind of have it handy there when you need it. We often talk on the radio show about how your family may not need this program today. Your family may not need this program tomorrow, but chances are that someone that you know, if it's not you yourself, will need one of these resources down the road. And it's always so important. The hardest thing to do is reach out and ask for help. And that's why we've made all this information available to everyone. We want to make sure that you are aware of what's out there, aware of the people who are there to help you in the event that something comes up that you need a service for your family. So all of that information is there for you to access. Another easy way to get in touch with us is through our website, which is cscslc.org, and we share all kinds of information on our website. You can get access to all of the funded programs there, as well as the community calendar. But we've got some other cool things that we've been sharing on our website as well. And one of those is our success stories. And I was just chatting with our guests today a little bit about some of those success stories. We shared a really great one a couple weeks ago about a new mom who had received our newborn home visitation program visit, as well as some additional services as her children got a little bit older. But we shared a great program, or a great story last week too. And we actually had New Horizons Student Assistance Program as a guest on the show about maybe 3 weeks ago. And we were able to share a story from Northport K-8 school about how their student assistance program counselor has sort of become integrated into that school. And the kids really have have tapped into her and see her as a resource and see her as an ally for them. And they go to her to ask questions that they might be afraid to ask other people. But it's a really great story and an awesome read. The principal at that school, Mr. Glenn Reste, had just wonderful things to say about her, and we've kind of detailed all of that. So kudos to New Horizons and to Marianne Warren, who is the prevention specialist at Northport. Just an awesome story. We know that she's reaching a ton of kids there, and we're really proud of the work that she is doing. Couple other places that you can get information from us. Facebook is a huge one. We have a large Facebook presence. We've got information that we share there about upcoming events, about maybe where we're going to be over the weekend. We always share who the guest is going to be on Tuesday mornings. And sometimes it's just a little quote, a little tip for parents, something like that. So we've got a lot of information that goes out on our Facebook page. I would encourage you to find us there if you are not already a fan on Facebook. All you have to do is search Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. There are 8 other children's services councils around the state. We're a little partial to ours, but that's okay. If you want to find the other ones and like them too, we'll be okay with that. But we share a lot of information there. We'd love for you to get connected. Okay, I've got a couple of things that I want to mention before we get to our guests, because I know they have a lot to talk about. Last week we had Rosanna Gonzalez from New Horizons on, I know, friend of yours. And she was talking about an event that's actually coming up this weekend. So I just want to remind everyone that there is the Race for Recovery that is happening at Met Stadium Tradition Field on this coming Saturday, October 4th. The race will start at 7:30. You can sign up beforehand online, or you can sign up on race day. We actually have information about it on our website through our community calendar. So if that's something that you're interested in, it is a walk run, so you don't have to run. You can walk, which is what I will be doing. But again, that's Saturday morning. The race will start at 7:30. More information is available on our website at cscslc.org. So I just want to take a couple minutes to talk about where Sean and I were this past weekend. We kind of alluded a little bit to it during the show last week, but we were able to participate in the Indian River Lagoon Science Festival on Saturday. And it was a huge event that was organized by a ton of community partners. It was held at Museum Point Park, which is right at the base of South Beach Bridge. And we had an absolutely phenomenal time there. We brought our neighborhood postcard project, which we've talked a little bit about on the radio show before. It's got a blank front of a postcard where we talk to the kids about what their favorite thing about living in St. Lucie County is. And they draw us a picture or write a story or something about what they love about living here. And then we take those postcards and mail them to random addresses throughout the community as sort of a way to instill community pride and kind of share the good things that we have going on here. And we probably got about 1,000 cards on Saturday, and I actually had to drive back to the office from the beach to get more because we were running out so early on in the day. And I just have to thank everybody who came out and stopped by the table. We got a couple of listeners that stopped and said that they've listened to us before, that they've seen us on TV. So we had a really great time and an amazing turnout, wonderful event that was put together again by just a group, an army really, of community partners. There were really cool science experiments going on at the booths next to us. To the left of us was St. Andrew's School, and they had this really neat thing where they were talking about waves and barrier islands and how they were trying to knock little army guys off rocks. It was just really, really cute. A really great way to engage the kids in our community in science and how fun it can be. The Girl Scouts were next to us as well, and they were doing an experiment where they were actually poking a stick through a balloon. And a lot of the kids didn't think that you could do that. They thought the balloon would pop every time. There were several pops, and I joked with Sean that we were both going to have post-traumatic stress disorder when we left there because of all the popping that was happening next to us. But really cool experiments, really cool, ways to engage kids in science, which is something that they kind of sometimes have a little hurdle getting accustomed to. But we had a great time, and we loved all the people that we got to talk to. We have some amazing postcards that were drawn not only by the kids who came to the table, but by adults as well. We got a lot of pictures of beaches, which is not a surprise since that's where we were. But we just had an awesome time, and I thank everyone who was able to make it out there, and as well to the committee who invited us to attend. I don't know that that's something that we would have seeked out to participate in, but it was awesome. Very awesome event. I look forward to being able to be there next year. One more thing I want to mention, I know Sean and I talk all the time on the radio about reaching out to groups. If you have a group that might be interested in learning more about Children's Services Council, that will come out and speak to you, or anything like that. It doesn't have to be a large group. It could be a small group as well. But we had the opportunity yesterday to go and sit with the principal of Fort Pierce Magnet School of the Arts, and she was just looking for some resources to pull for her families about things that were already existing in the community. You know, we talk all the time, nonprofits, we work so well together here in St. Lucie County that we don't want to reinvent something that's already happening, and she was interested in what was out there and what was already available, things that she might be able to share with her parents as resources for them. And we just had a great conversation with her, and we're able to tie her into some things that were already going on as services for her kids. So I just want to again mention that if you have a group, a church group, a women's group, whatever it might be, that might be interested in learning more about the Children's Services Council, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. You can reach us in any of those ways that I mentioned earlier, the website. You can actually send messages through our app, on Facebook, or you can call our office at 408-1100. We'd be happy to come talk to any size group for any length of time that you have available. We do it all the time, and we love doing it. So please reach out to us if you have an interest in that. All right, we're almost ready, ladies. Are you ready? I see you're waiting patiently. You're doing a great job as I blab and blab by myself here since Sean is gone.
You're doing a great job. You're doing an awesome job.
Let me go ahead and take a quick break for station ID and remind everyone that you are listening to Community Connections with Children's Services Council on 1400 AM WIRA, or you are watching us on WLX TV, the St. Lucie County Education Channel, Channel 13 in Fort Pierce, Channel 19 in Port St. Lucie if you have Comcast, ATT Uverse Channel 99, Hometown Cable Channel 19, and Lightstream Cable at St. James Channel 65. Speaking of St. James, I have to give a shout out to my friend Reed. He actually walked up to the table on Saturday and said, "May I have your autograph?" And I laughed and laughed. But he said, "I watch your show all the time. I always see you." So thank you, Reed, for indulging our little radio/TV show. We appreciate that we've got at least one fan out there. We'll take one. But I do quickly, just before we get to our guests, want to mention where Sean is today, since he has left me flying solo once again. We're going to start counting, Sharon, how many times he leaves me by myself. But Sean we've talked about it several times over the last couple of weeks, about the initiative that has been forged between Restoring the Village and the Roundtable of St. Lucie County. A lot of talk has gone on about ways to address the violence that's happening in Fort Pierce and how we can bring sort of a calming effect to our community. And they have tapped into the National Gang Center out of Texas, and they have come in for the day to do a complete full day of training for our community leaders. So that is where Sean is at today, along with probably about 300 others that are attending this event. I saw the agenda before I left the office, and it was a jam-packed day, full of all kinds of trainings, and learning about how to engage our community in ways to kind of combat this gang issue and the violence that's happening. This evening, there's going to be the community mobilization meeting that is happening at Lincoln Park Academy in the auditorium there. So I would encourage anyone who has concerns about what direction our community is going in, anyone that's looking to get involved, anyone that's looking to get informed, attend this meeting. We've got information about it on our Facebook page if you're looking for more details. But it is going to be the place to get the information about what's happening. If you want to be at the forefront of how that's all going to go down, this is the place to be. So that, again, is tonight, September 30th at 6:30 at the Lincoln Park Academy Auditorium. We hope that everyone will turn out there. This is an awesome opportunity that our community has, and we're really excited to see what happens moving forward. So it takes all of us. It's going to take everyone. So if you can make it out there tonight, we would love to see you there. Okay, who's ready?
You're ready.
I'm just kidding. But again, I alluded a little bit to who our guest was today, but we are extremely excited to have Hibiscus Children's Center with us. I think it's been a long time since you guys have probably been on the radio show. I know we've had Catherine on before to talk about supporting families in crisis, but it's probably been even longer since we've had an overview of everything that Hibiscus does. And I know some of our listeners may be familiar with some of the programs that are going on in the community, but we've got Veronica here today who probably doesn't need an introduction, especially if people are watching TV and can see her, because she is everywhere in the community. Just about as many places as I am.
We see each other everywhere.
I know. But Veronica, why don't you give us kind of an overview and talk about some of the highlights about Hibiscus and what people might be familiar with. And then I know we're going to get into more detail about some of the programs, but let's start at the beginning.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. We really appreciate the opportunity to be here and share information about Hibiscus Children's Center. I think what a lot of people don't know, they've heard the name Hibiscus, they're not really sure of what all we actually do. And we're going into our third decade here on the Treasure Coast. We've been protecting and sheltering children of abuse, abandonment, and neglect since 1985. We have a shelter in Jensen Beach that houses our newborn to 12-year-old. We also have the village in Vero Beach, which is an amazing compound of homes that shelters our 13 to 18-year-old, but there is now a transitional program that is offered by the state, thankfully, that we can keep the children until they're 23, which, as we all know, children from a, quote, normal family aren't really ready to be on their own at 18, so why would our children be ready for that either? So we also have a Career Pathways to Success program, which Caroline's going to touch on more of the programs, and we have some St. Lucie exclusives that she's going to share with us too. So.
Okay. So I'm Caroline Beal. I'm the Director of Mental Health Services. As you know, our history is that we began sheltering children in 1985. So we've been doing it over 25 years now. And our mental health services really developed because we saw the need that we need to provide those services to our children in those shelters. So we have 4 programs that were developed, and we service all counties. We service St. Lucie, Martin, Okeechobee, and Indian River, but the majority of our clients are in St. Lucie County. So our goal too is to kind of provide that continuity of care from those kids that are in the shelter or the village, to transition them into, independent living, and also, continue to provide those services. So we have the sexual abuse treatment program, and that is a specialized program to treat victims of sexual abuse. That is monitored by the state of Florida, the Department of Health. We are one of 15 programs in Florida, and we are the only one on the Treasure Coast.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so the clinicians that provide those services, individual therapy, family therapy, they are specially trained. They have the qualifications to treat those victims. They can also work with a non-offending caregiver, and then other siblings in the home. So the clinicians are so passionate about what they do. They advocate for their clients. It's a great program. So I could say that we have been recognized as the #1 participant in all the sexual abuse treatment activities, and we have a 70% completion rate where the clients that come into that program, they complete it successfully.
So of those 15 programs that you mentioned across the state, you guys have been recognized as the best.
I wouldn't say the best, but we do have the highest completion rate, success
awesome.
rate. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I know, and we kind of skirted across this, but the kids that you are serving are kids that would be considered children in foster care or that have been removed from their homes?
Most of our clients we serve, they are placed in the dependency system, and that's how they come to us. Either they're in the shelter or the village, and then we could provide services there. At those residential programs, we have mental health services, which is behavioral health overlay services. And that is where our Career Pathways program is too. So that program is designed to provide those clients ages 13 to 18 with educational purposes like GED, obtaining a job. They have internships, and so that person in that program, Cynthiria, she works with them very closely to get them a job, get them their GED, and then after that, we have the extended foster care community support program where they can stay there, because we find that they're really not ready to leave, even though they're 18. And they can go into like a transitional living or go, to get a job or live with a
I
family.
don't know anybody that was ready to leave at 18.
Exactly.
I wasn't.
So we do,
Definitely not.
yeah. So we do have 2 kids that turned 18 and they opted to stay. They want to stay.
Nice.
So I think it's a great program, and that again, that's the continuity of care. Even though they're turning 18 and they might be leaving, we can still service them in the community wherever they go.
Right.
So even the kids that leave the shelter, a lot of our St. Lucie kids that might be placed in Jensen or Vero, we want to get them back to their homes and adopted. So we work with them there.
Excellent. Okay, so that was. Did we talk about 2 or 3 of those programs?
That's 2.
Okay.
And so then we have our community mental health outpatient
Okay.
program, and so that's where we're treating our children and families in the community. So it could be a child that was living in the residential program that left and is living with a foster parent or back with their parents. So we're continue to serve them to meet whatever needs. We're addressing trauma, the abandonment, grief and loss, depression, anxiety, behavioral issues. So our clinicians see them in the home, at school, or in the office. We meet them where they are in their environment. And then we have our infant mental health program, which is treating infants 0 to 5. So the clinician is working with mostly the caregiver or the parent to address any developmental issues, temperament, attachment, and bond issues to promote a healthy development. So those clinicians are especially trained and educated in child developmental issues.
I can imagine that is a very intense part of what you guys do, because that's such a formative age, 0 to 5, and we talk a lot about that with the programs that we do, how important those stages are for a child's development. So having to deal with everything that they have probably dealt with at a very young age. So I imagine that program is extremely important for those children.
It's very imperative because that's their developmenting and they have those issues. So it's like if we can address them at an early age and be preventative, it would really help foster their growth.
Awesome. Well, it sounds like you guys are doing a whole bunch, which I knew, but I think it's nice to talk about, because I don't think a lot of people are familiar with the shelter, but probably don't realize everything that's going on behind the scenes. It's not just a place for the kids to go and spend the night and then get up and go to school in the morning. There's so much more that's going on there. Can you talk a little bit about kind of the numbers that you're seeing there? Do you know offhand how many kids are in the total in the shelters now?
The total amount is 400, about 400 children we're currently serving. So that could be
between all the programs. Wow, that's a lot of kids.
Well, at any given time, generally the shelters are between 30 and 36 children. I believe the maximum in Vero Beach is 38 children.
38.
And the shelter's close to the same.
36.
Wow.
So and they're usually full. So that's what the importance of the continuity of care. If they're coming in but they're leaving, we know if there's a therapist and how we can continue treatment, because so many times you see that the child is placed in different homes and settings, and there's no continuity of care. So we think that's huge.
Absolutely. All right, so we talked a little bit about the residential programs and things like that are going on. What else do you guys have happening that's coming up? I know there's a lot of, well, actually, let's talk about our St. Lucie exclusive program.
Supporting families in crisis.
One of our favorites. We talk
Definitely.
about them often. We've had so many success stories that have come out of that program. And actually, we're able to honor Will Malone as one of our champions for children this year, which was just, if you know Will, he is like the most humble person on the planet. And I think he was mortified that we were honoring him at all.
Right.
And must have said 100 times, it's not just me. It's not just me.
Right.
But talk a little bit about how that program works and what they do.
So that program is just in St. Lucie, and we have obviously Will and Jackie. Those are our two case managers. They serve the county to help those families in need and empower them, link them to resources. Day in, day out, they're helping at least 16 families at a time. They're assigned to. So they do great work, and I'm so proud of Will. He's a great guy, and he's hilarious if you ever talk to him.
And he has a great accent, which is my favorite part. We did, actually, there's a video up on our website. We do a video interview with all of our award winners, and Will came into the office to do his video interview, and something happened to the video and we didn't get it. And he struggled through the video the first time so much that I felt terrible having to call him and telling him that we had to do it again. But he was great. And again, just a wonderful, wonderful program that is made available here in St. Lucie County. They have served countless numbers of families. And I think, too, it's one of those, I mentioned before, a lot of times the hardest thing to do is to reach out and ask for help. And Will and Jackie make it so easy. They really become an advocate for the family. It's not like you're receiving counseling services or something like that may come with a stigma. They really become part of that family and identify maybe not the situation that they called about that they needed help with, but some underlying situations that they're able to connect community resources for and find ways to kind of help that family stay together. And really the idea behind this is to stay out of the services, out of the dependency system, not getting involved with DCF, not having the kids get involved with the Department of Juvenile Justice. And this program is working, and we've seen how well it works through the numbers that we get from all of them and the work that they've done. And really, that was why we decided to recognize Will this year. He, there was a time where Jackie had or the other counselor had to take some medical leave, and Will was kind of single-handedly managing everything that was going on and was able to keep those families afloat throughout the community. And we just love this program, and we talk about it all the time. So I'm so glad that we got to bring it up again today. So,
am I allowed to say anything about the support?
Of course you are.
Well, I have to say that thanks to the support of the Children's Services Council, that program is available, because without the support, it's like 70 to 80% of that program is funded by the Children's Services Council. So if, God forbid, anything were to happen to the Children's Services Council, that would be a devastating loss to our community families. So that needed to be said.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Now, speaking of that, Veronica, the way that you guys fund the rest of those programs, the funding that you don't get from agencies like ours, is through fundraising, which is a huge part of what you do. And you guys have some exciting things coming up. So talk to us a little bit about what's going on.
We do. We have some amazing events coming up. We decided to get way outside of the box coming into St. Lucie County. And we do have, as an agency, a $2.5 million nut to raise to make up the difference in what we're not receiving by funding. So we have come out with some pretty interesting events. One of them would be our Spoil Island scavenger hunt, which is a never-been-done-before fundraiser on the Treasure Coast.
It sounds so fun.
It's going to be fun. You do have to have a boat to participate in this. So everybody knows somebody with a boat. If you don't make friends quickly with somebody who has a boat, because it'll be 4 people to a boat. The entry is only $100 for the 4 people on the boat until the 15th of October. We have a pre-registration party and a captain's party that will be at Bottoms Up Raw Bar and Grill. So if you've not yet registered by the 15th, get out there that night between 5:30 and 8:30 and get yourself registered, because it'll go to $125 at midnight on that day. So we only have the capacity for 100 boats because it is an inaugural year. So we want to keep it
Manageable.
if you can call it that. So, but it is fun. We've working with the Department of Environmental Protection. We've chosen the 6 islands that can be utilized for the event. We're hiding clues and coming up with riddles, and it will be so much fun. There is no set time to leave. It's not a race. So people can leave anytime between 8 a.m. and 11 a.m. Everyone must be back by 2 p.m. The islands are closing off at that point. We're having the party. The party afterwards, the Maroon Beach Party, it is hosted by Bottoms Up Raw Bar and Grill, and it is open to the public. So for those people who are not participating in the event, they can purchase a paella for $10, and that also will be donated back to Hibiscus Children's Center. And thanks to the generosity of Jimmy and Julianne and Chris Higgins, they are donating a portion of the proceeds from the bar back from the party as well to Hibiscus.
Excellent. So what's the prize for the scavenger hunt?
There are several prizes. We have the overall prize for the scavenger hunt. It's going to be a package with a 2-night hotel stay, a whole bunch of goodies in there, gift cards, things like that, some liquor. And also we have the best pirate costume, or the best decorated. You can either come as a marooned, stranded person or a pirate of some sort. And the best costume will also win a package, and also decorating their boat. So if they decorate their boat as a pirate, the best pirate boat will also win. And we did incorporate in an island cleanup. So anyone who brings back a bag of trash from the island,
Extra bonus points for that.
will get a prize.
Very nice.
Tudo Fresco is one of a big supporter of the Hibiscus Children's Center, our community as a whole. And they've given us $10 gift cards to share with everyone who brings back a bag of trash from them.
That's awesome. So what's the actual date of the event?
It is October 19th. It's a Sunday. And there will be registration in the morning as well, so people can come if they haven't registered, but only if we do not have the 100 boats. If we have the 100 boats,
Are you close to full now?
we're about halfway there.
Okay, awesome. Is there a place online where they can get more information?
Absolutely.
Okay, what's that?
Thanks for asking. It's hibiscuschildrencenter.org, and it's children's is plural, so hibiscuschildrencenter.org.
Awesome, and all the information about the event is online there.
Absolutely. They will need to sign. There's a registration form that you'll need to complete that's there, and you'll also, everyone on the boat will need to sign a waiver. So if they have more than 6 people also, it would be $25 for an additional person above 4, but everyone needs to sign waivers.
Very cool. How did you come up with this idea?
I was out with some friends about a year ago, my first tour of the North Islands, and went, wow, this would be a great place for a scavenger hunt. I don't know what I was thinking. But I think once we get through the inaugural year, I think it's just going to be a breeze after that.
It sounds like a ton of fun.
Sounds
and
fun.
Definitely nothing that's ever been done here before.
The clues are amazing. They're so fun. And then we've made some really difficult clues too. So we have to narrow it down to but it will be a lot of fun.
Very cool. Okay, so the Spoil Island scavenger hunt is happening on Sunday, October 19th. Registration is open now. It's $100 for 4 people on your boat, but only through October 15th. So October 15th, the price of registration will go up. You can get more information from the Hibiscus website at hibiscuschildrencenter.org. We will, of course, make sure that this is listed on our website as well so that people can find information there. But you can also, I'm sure, find it from Veronica wherever she is out in the community.
Absolutely.
You will
Tomorrow.
see her out somewhere, I promise. So what else is going on? What else do you guys have coming up?
Oh, we have some really neat events. I'll kind of go through them pretty quickly. But Halloween party we have that's going to be hosted by Tudo Fresco on Halloween night in St. Lucie West. $10 cover charge, which is a donation to Hibiscus Children's Center. They're giving cash prizes, 3 different levels of contest. So I think it's sexiest, best couple, and best costume, best overall costume. And then we have our golf tournament. Our annual golf tournament will be at St. James Golf Club on December 6th. It's a Saturday, which is a great event every year. We have a $5,000 hole-in-one opportunity,
Wow.
along with 4 other hole-in-one opportunities. The chairs are working on these things. Plus, St. James is offering a half a membership,
Oh, very
to-
cool.
which is normally like a $5,000 value. So that's a hole-in-one prize also. We have a lot of prizes for this year. And then we have a poker run. That's a third-party event that's being hosted for us by Johnny Z's in Port St. Lucie. That'll be November 22nd. And also one of our community partners who is so amazing, In Zane Tattoo, John, he does every year in December a toy drive for us. He has an all-day event with a party, and he's just so fabulous. He's actually on our volunteer guild now. We're so excited to have him and everyone on our guild. But that'll be December 14th. I believe that's a Sunday also. And then we do our Barrel of Cheer raffle, which is a promotion passive that we've been doing. We just started it again. We did it last year. And we give away a gigantic wheelbarrow of liquor, which
I've
is,
seen it. It's intense.
Wow.
and it's all donations from the generosity of businesses in our community. So I thank all of you for that. And we sell the tickets for $5. We have a huge party on December 15th at Tudo Fresco to give it all away. We do 8 baskets and the barrel. You do not have to be present to win the barrel. You do have to be present to win the baskets. But that was a great promotion last year, nice and passive. And if you win right before Christmas,
Your gift.
your
I like
Christmas
it.
shopping's all done for the grown-ups, that's for sure.
So you mentioned the guild, the Hibiscus Guild, which I've heard a lot about recently. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and how someone could get involved in that?
I would love to. The Volunteer Guild for Hibiscus Children's Center is like just that, volunteers that want to come forward and help us with events. They can also help with things that are needed at the shelter or the village. They can help us get into the community more. They may have connections to somebody where we do speaking engagements like you. We love those opportunities as well. And our guild, pretty much, like we have event chairs that will work with our event coordinator and myself to help run the event. So if that's something people love to do, they can get involved on that level, or they just say, no, we have one woman, Susan, who's an amazing artist. She's in social media. She has her own business, and she creates those gorgeous brochures for our golf and our scavenger hunt and all those things.
So whatever your time or talent, you can
There you-
donate to the guild. Now you have something going on tonight with the guild, do you not?
We do. Thank you. We have a guild social, which is open to the public, so you can come out and meet some of the guild members, see if it's something they're interested in. We have the information about all the events there. So then we sit and talk with people, and if they're interested, they're welcome to come out. The 19th hole is passing hand-passed appetizers, and they're doing a discount on drinks if somebody wanted a drink while they were there. It's just a social event to meet some of the guild members.
Very nice. So obviously you have a lot going on. We've
Yes.
talked about 5 or 6 events that are just coming up before the end of the year. So we'll make sure that we get all of this up on our community calendar to share with everyone and
Thank you.
refer them to the Hibiscus website if they're looking for additional information. I just want to remind everyone that you are listening to Community Connections with Children's Services Council on 1400 AM WIRA, or you are watching us on WLX TV, the St. Lucie County Education Channel, Channel 13 in Fort Pierce on Comcast, Channel 19 in Port St. Lucie. If you have ATT Uverse, Channel 99, Channel 19 on Hometown Cable, or Lightstream Cable, Channel 65. We are talking today with Caroline and Veronica from Hibiscus Children's Center, and we have talked about a ton of things. I know we have covered a lot of information that can sometimes probably be overwhelming for our listeners and viewers, but it just kind of recognizes the importance of what we have going on here. And Hibiscus serves children in all 4 counties surrounding us. We are lucky to have them here as an advocate for the children who are in care in our communities. And you guys work with several community partners to kind of make this happen. Not just the ones we talked
CSC.
about that are hosting events, but other agencies as well that really kind of fit into everything that you're doing. I know we were talking before the show about the COSA meetings, the Council of Social Agencies, which is where I hear a lot about the counseling programs that you guys are operating and how they're working in the community. And there are so many hands involved kind of in that system to make sure that our kids are getting everything that they need so that they can be as successful as they want to be. So I just want to again kind of talk to Caroline a little bit about these kids and about what you're seeing. I think a lot of times people have misconceptions about the kids who are in foster care or receiving services, that they are, and I hate to say this, but they are damaged, that something is wrong with them. But what we have to remember, and Sean and I have this conversation all the time, is that there's nothing that these kids have done has put them in the place that they're in. Something has been done to them. And in most cases, they are the victim of some situation that they could not help by any means of their own. And we really have to show up for them and we have to support them, which is why the services that you guys provide are so important.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I have reached out to the schools. Just because some of our kids that go to school might exhibit some behavioral problems in school. So we try to do some training, trauma-informed care, to show that their behaviors may be more of a symptom of their trauma. Maybe they've been abandoned by their parents. You know, they're living in residential program, foster care home, and, you know, they're having a difficult time adjusting. Like I say, they didn't ask for that. They didn't ask to be there, so it happened to them, like you said. So we're just trying to educate the educators about, you know, their symptoms and how to really interact with them with that in mind. They're more informed, and to treat each child the same just because they are, you know, coming from that environment, you know, doesn't mean that you treat them differently. And then unfortunately, with the sexual abuse treatment program, we receive so many referrals for this. Now it seems is like an epidemic, really, if I could call it that. But, you know, so that program is so important because it's happening a lot, and we're working with those children to work through the abuse and resolve it so it doesn't affect them as adults. Because if they're left untreated, it really manifests into so many different problems like substance abuse and depression.
It's really interesting that you bring that up. We had Rosanna Gonzalez on the show last week, and she talked a lot about the way that mental health is viewed in our community and the way that mental health is treated in our community, and that there are ways to recover from those situations. And a lot of times people don't consider that. They don't consider that you can get over some of those things or that you can work through some of those things. And it's not easy by any means, especially for a child. But our kids are really resilient. And
definitely,
with the services that you guys are able to provide and ensuring that everyone that's kind of on their side, on their team, is working for their betterment, it's just, you know, one more thing that we just have to help them with. I'm interested in so much about what it is that you guys do, and I think that, again, it's something that not a lot of people are familiar with. They assume that these kids go to the shelter or residential care or a foster home, and they're just, you know, that's it.
Forgotten
that's the end.
children.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So we really try to you know, encourage the staff that work with them, teachers, case managers, clinicians, foster parent, adoptive parents, that you know, treat them like you would treat your own child. And every interaction that you have with that child could be like an intervention. Just the way you talk to them and the rapport you build with them and the relationship eventually that you have with them can make a huge difference. You know, think back to when you were a kid and someone in your life that really, you know, helped you out or guided you, and that's how they see us, if you are being that person that they need. So
that's awesome. I'm just so thankful that we even have this option in our community. I know that in other communities there may not be as wonderful an organization as Hibiscus that's doing the work for their kids. So we are very lucky that we have you guys here and that you're doing all the work that you are. it's obviously not easy to do because we see all of Veronica's fundraising efforts that are happening here.
That's just
very
the beginning.
She's very busy.
And this is only 2 months. So
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure when you sleep ever while you're planning all of these
People
things.
ask me that question a lot. What are you doing up at 11 o'clock?
Well, obviously you're working very hard.
Thank you.
But again, Hibiscus is doing wonderful things here in our community, and we are so happy that we were able to bring you guys on the show and kind of share all of that with our community, because I don't think that you get enough recognition for what it is that you do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We appreciate
okay,
you
though.
as well. Without you all, we wouldn't be able to do some of the things we do.
Well, thank you
So
for
thank
that.
you.
Again, we talked about several events, but I'll mention some of the highlights of them. If you are interested in getting involved with Hibiscus as a member of their volunteer guild, there is a social happening tonight at the 19th hole at the Saints Golf Course.
Yes.
Did I get that right?
You
Oh,
did.
Good job.
Great job.
So you can stop by there if you're looking for more information, learn about what the Guild is doing, how they're assisting Hibiscus Children's Center to further their mission to help children on the Treasure Coast. We also talked about the Spoil Island Scavenger Hunt, which is coming up October 19th. Sounds like an awesome time if you have a boat, or you can convince someone of your friends that has a boat to drive you around on that day. A boat of 4 people is $100 to register, and you can get all of that information, including the waivers that need to be signed, at hibiscuschildrencenter.org. The captain's party for that event is the 15th.
Yep.
At Bottoms Up Bar and Grill.
Yep.
Man, I took good
You
notes.
are
See?
so good.
I'm so good. Don't tell Sean I said that.
Sean, she's really good.
There are other events that are coming up as well. I'm not going to mention all of them because we don't have that much time left on the show today. But I will make sure that we get all of those events up on our community calendar, which again you can find at cscslc.org. Anything else that you guys want to mention? Do you need to give any shout outs to anybody back at the office that's listening?
Well, I just wanted to say, I want everyone to know that we do service clients and families in the community. So if you were wanting to make a referral, you could call our main office at 772-340-5750. And so you can, if you're thinking of someone that you like to make a referral for, a family in need, please call us.
That's a great point, and we sort of, I apologize, but we kind of overlooked that part. You guys do serve all the kids who are in care, but you have some community programs as well that are available.
Yeah, they all really intertwine, so if you need a referral, you can do it by calling us, and we appreciate it.
And I will say too, on the Hibiscus website, which we mentioned before, hibiscuschildrencenter.org, you guys do kind of outline each one of the programs and what they focus on and how to get in touch with them. So there is a lot of information that's available online. But again, why don't you give us that phone number one more time, Caroline?
It's 772-340-5750.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And again, just a reminder to everyone that we will put all of this information up on our community calendar. You can find information about Hibiscus through our funded programs directory on our website. They're a great community partner of ours, especially through the Supporting Families in Crisis program. So we've got all of their information as well. If you are ever looking for anything that you might not be able to find other places, definitely give us a call. Before we close out the show today, which I have almost survived by myself.
Very good.
She's great.
I just
out of a job on the radio.
No, we did not say that.
Only on the radio.
We need him here. Sometimes I don't push all the buttons the right way. I don't want that responsibility. But again, I want to mention the community mobilization meeting that is happening tonight. Restoring the Village and the Roundtable of St. Lucie County. We have talked about it for several weeks on the radio show. We had Shanique Maynard from the Roundtable on the show. We had Detective Danny Drysainter last week from the Fort Pierce Police Department. It's going to be the best opportunity that you have to get involved, to get the information about what's going to be happening in your community. The only way that we can address these problems is by doing it together. We talked about how Hibiscus has teams that are working for our kids. And this is kind of another one of those things that's going to be a team effort. No one agency, no one group, no one church is going to be able to address this issue on their own. This is the opportunity that we have to do it together, to get information from the people who have done it. That's why they brought the National Gang Center in. And I just really hope that we get a great turnout there tonight. It is again tonight, Tuesday, September 30th at 6:30 p.m. at the Lincoln Park Academy Auditorium, right on the corner of Avenue I and 17th Street. I really hope that we get an awesome turnout there. If you have any questions about it, please feel free to call us at the office. We can get you more information. It's 408-1100. And before we close out, I will get in trouble if I don't mention this. I'm just kidding. I don't get in trouble. But we talk every week about the importance of Children's Services Council in our community and the work that is being done through these 53 agencies. Veronica mentioned that Hibiscus Children's Center's Supporting Families in Crisis program receives about 78% of their operating budget from the Children's Services Council. And that is true for about 42 of the 53 programs that we are operating in the community. Without the Children's Services Council, those programs would have an extremely diminished capacity to serve our local families, and it would just be devastating to our nonprofit community. I say all this to tell you that on November 4th, which is just a little over a month and a half away, which is crazy to me, our community will have the opportunity to reauthorize the Children's Services Council. We were established by this community in 1990 through a voter referendum, and our community will now have the opportunity to reaffirm the belief that we are serving children in the right way. We have some information up on our website about the reauthorization. If there is more information that you want to get about it, you can find it on our website, again, cscslc.org. We've got a tab that's called Reauthorization Facts, and you can see exactly what the vote is going to mean, what it's going to look like. We actually have the language for the referendum right on there, so you can read about it. I'm happy to say that we got an endorsement from Scripps over the weekend. So there have been newspaper articles recently as well about everything related to the referendum, and we just really hope that our community gets educated about it and shows up, because it's so important to our kids. Again, I mentioned early in the show, these programs are serving 34,000 children in our community, and in turn, they're serving 30,000 parents. We understand that these kids don't live in little homes by themselves and drive themselves to school every day. So, you know, it's just as important to serve and educate the parents as it is the children. And we just really hope that everyone gets informed about the vote, and whatever we can do to help that, you know, certainly we will be there. We had an awesome conversation with Hibiscus Children's Center today, and we're so lucky to have them here in our community. Thank you to Veronica. Thank you to Caroline.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you for everything that we talked about, including 100 events that are coming up. It feels like 100, doesn't it?
It does feel like
We hear from people all the time, there's nothing to do here. Oh, I did my voice. Sean would be so happy. There's nothing to do here. I don't have anything to do this weekend. It's so boring here. That is not true. We talked about at least 6 events that are coming up in the next few weeks, and there's many, many more that, you know, all the agencies on the Treasure Coast are working on. So just get out there, get involved. If you have time or talent to donate, find a way to do that, because, you know, we're all in this together, and we have to work together to make this community what it is. Just one more quick reminder also about the New Horizons Race for Recovery. It is a walk/run. Walk, I say first, because that's what I'll be doing. But again,
that's what I would be doing.
this coming Saturday, October 4th at Tradition Field. The race starts promptly at 7:30 a.m. You can register on their website, which is nhtc.org. There is a link to it from our website. Tons of things happening in our community. We are so happy about it. Check out our neighborhood postcard project online as well. I posted some of the postcards that we got this weekend, and they're really, really cute. They're some of the best ones. The beach is apparently a really popular place. Not sure if you guys know
That was a great idea.
I know,
What a
I-
great
I
idea.
think I want to do one
I
of those.
can't really take claim for that. We modeled it after something that we saw from another community, but it has been really great conversation starters at the events that we've been at, so we're really excited about it. So as we wrap up today, thank you for being with me in my solo time here.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Sean will be back next week. At least I hope so, unless he quits on me. I don't know if I could handle that. But thank you to everyone for tuning in today. Remember, this is a weekly radio show. We will be back next week. And remember, it is our children, our community, our future. We're in this together. Thanks.